She fell, she fought, and in the end, she emerged victorious. This is the woman of today, and she is made of steel. Come and watch how she slays.
This is your favorite international radio network, 94.3 BD1 One World, your station. And on She Slays today, I am so happy and high with the whole idea of having this person with me today. Very privileged and honored to have one of the legendary theatre and film actresses who has been slaying it for over 3 to 4 decades easily. Lillette Dubey on the show with me today. Lillette, oh my God, it is so nice to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I have to admit, it's not even 4 decades. I was telling someone that I started when I was in my late teens. So It's almost like more than 45 years. I'm going to hit 50 very soon.
Wow.
Scary.
I no, not at all. Very few can actually live to say this. And you're here. You're doing this for us. Yeah.
Survive to tell the tale. Absolutely.
You've survived the pandemic, the lockdown. You have a bustling theatre production company, and I'd love to talk about that. But, before we get to that, a quick question about way back when you started. Okay, you were a teen. I'm sure getting into films or theatre wasn't the order of the day. You would have had to convince your parents. You would have to tell them, I'm going to do something that I don't know if it's going to fetch the kind of, fame or money that everyone usually expects, especially parents, something that is secure. How did you do that?
So very quickly, my background is that coming from this question, it was especially difficult because I come from a very, very professional background. Great-grandfather was a judge, grandfather was first FRCP.
Wow.
In the army, and then my mother was a gynecologist from Lady Harding, who was quite a feisty lady, got married at 31 or something like that in those days.
Oh, wow.
So, my father was, they both originally from Sindh, of course, but they came to study here and sort of stayed on during partition, so they were here. Anyway, so my father was an engineer by profession and a physicist by passion.
Wow.
His passion was relativity. So he wrote and, gave lectures at King's College London, and, so you get a picture of the kind of family that I came from.
Yes.
So, acting and all was, we don't even talk about things like that. My mother expects me to be at the least someone who discovered the DNA. My father expects me to be a Nobel laureate in physics or something like that. They must have had everything. And this child who is first has a big rebellion because I don't do science.
Right.
I do science up to school. But then the big question was to go and do science after that.
Right.
And I rebelled. And I said, no way, Jose. And they said, what nonsense. Have to. There is no other. Arts is nothing. And you see, my problem was my dad was a very, very erudite Renaissance sort of man.
Right.
He was well versed in everything, Annie. He exposed me actually to the Impressionists. I'm talking about things like that. Bertrand Russell's philosophy. That was staple reading what I should be doing when I was 13, 14, 15.
Wow.
How much I absorbed, I don't know, but I went through the motions, read everything. And he introduced me to music, the classical music, Indian classical music, Western classical music. So actually, in a way, I'm very grateful to him because these were things you don't learn in school or college. It's an exposure to life and the arts and to culture. But for him, it was something you did in your spare time. Okay, you read Shakespeare, you listened to music, all that. You saw a play. He was not into films. Plays also not much. But literature was something you enjoyed on your own. So now, here I come and I say, I want to do a master's in English literature, okay? So he says, what? Are you crazy? This is something you read on the side. You don't want to waste your... of course, in a fully biased manner. My father thought it was extremely bright and I was wasting whatever God-given intellect I had, intelligence, littering it away on a very useless subject like literature. So even though I got into Beverage, which was the college, and I did very well in my master's and all that, he was not happy at all. Not that my mother was particularly either. But I started acting actually. Somebody I met recently on a plane told me they used to come and see little performances I used to give on my terrace when I was 9 and 10. I didn't quite remember, but I must have. And then I started acting in school in St. Mary's in Pune. My first play was an Oscar Wilde play. I remember The Importance of Being Earnest, in which I played Cicely. And I was hooked. I loved being on stage. And then I came to Delhi, LSR. They had some kind of, a drama activity, but it was really St. Stephen's College, which was not co-ed at that time. So I started, they needed girls for the actresses. I got them from Miranda House or they got them from Lady Shriram. And I had lots of friends, Siddharth, Basu and a lot of other people. Piyush Mishra was in college at the same time. This whole bunch, Shashi Tharoor. A couple of years younger, maybe. And my husband, who became my husband, Ravi, was there. So Stephens had a very active dramatic society called Sheikh Sock. Everybody was in through it. Roshan, Said, Kabir Bedi, you name it. Anyone was from Stephens, and became an actor, got groomed in the Sheikh Sock, as it was called.
Wow.
So I started acting a lot in Stephens. I was hanging out there all the time, much more than my own college. And then I met Barry John. He really was the pivotal sort of point, which kind of changed my life, because I was enjoying acting as people do in college, as something which I loved. But I wasn't thinking seriously. And I did my master's actually to just sort of procrastinate about what I wanted to do. My dad said, finally my dad understood that I really loved acting. And he said, and he had one mantra, which was a fantastic mantra, which was that if you want to do something, then be the best at it. Okay, so go to excel then. Don't do it like in a half-baked kind of way. And fair to him, he said, I'll send you to RADA or to, some school abroad. Why don't you go and learn drama then, if this is what you want to do. But I was, and I am still a very highly practical creature. And I said, I saw Roshan, my senior Roshan Seth, who joined the Royal Shakespeare Company with Peter Brooks. And, very, very well abroad later, but he's, like more than a decade older than me. And I saw that he was one of the few who managed to make some sort of mark, but many others had tried to go, and it was very different. Today I get these calls to do self-tapes for shows abroad, and I may or may not be able to do them because half the time I'm not free, but there's so much work that is happening in the West that Indians can now participate in. And of course here, this whole scenario was totally different. There was just sort of a semi-professional, amateur semi-professional theatre happening.
Yes.
There was no professional theatre. You couldn't, for the life of you, think that you could make any money out of it, because you wouldn't. In fact, all through my college years, I was modeling. So I could have some money to waste and squander and do theatre. That's how I balanced it. We'd get the princely sum of at 17, 18. I remember my first DCM Tal campaign. I got 500 rupees, and I said, "Wow!" I felt rich And I said, "Oh, I'm done. I'm good for the next so many weeks. I don't have to worry." And I could happily go to rehearsal and things like that. Catch my Rick and all those kind of things. So it all seems so lovely and charming and innocent at that period. But an old monk was like a big drink, having an old monk rum or just something like that. So it was a different world. It was in a way of course, we had people in college who did all the normal sort of things that young people do today.
Yeah.
It's not that they do. But, and you know what I'm talking about. So some of them did that, and it was also the 70s, don't forget. It was one of the wildest decades of the century.
Absolutely.
I finished school late 60s, almost 70. And then my college years were in the 70s. So, it was Woodstock. It was the age of the best in music ever. I still maintain that.
I would like to agree. I think I will second that. There hasn't been a better era or time than that.
60s to the, say, mid 70s, I think you just had some of the most, I know because my children and now my little 3-year-old twin granddaughters, who also have been exposed a little bit, all love that music.
Yeah.
So you guys all love that music. Why has it lasted so long, for 60, 70 years? Because it's got the staying power. It's and what diversity from a Simon and Garfunkel to a Bob Dylan to a ABBA. I mean, variety was also tremendous. Santana to this to that. I mean, this is music I grew up on.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm saying that what happened was that I started saying that, okay, this can't be a viable career choice. It's not going to happen, And but I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it. And Dad said, go abroad. And I said, no. What am I going to do with it? So like a practical creature, finished one MA, and then I did another master's from JNU.
Wow.
In mass communications. No. In my family, I was barely educated. I mean, this was the absolute minimum.
You may have been bordering being an outcast, I know.
Yeah. I just about made it on the right side. So I did the 2 masters, and then very soon after that, I got married. So then it became the typical Indian parent thing. Now it's your husband's responsibility.
Right.
Do what you want.
Right.
We think you can be doing so much more with your life. You're so bright, and this and that and da and do. And it's true, there were many moments of crisis and conscience. And, when I finished my second master's, I had people like Vinod Dua, who was my classmate.
Yes.
Topped the course, and I got lots of offers from radio stations. I used to also do some kind of radio jockeying.
Sure. Wow.
With you on AIR. So again, to make money and to try my skills at different things. So I have done that as well, playing music on the radio and things like that. I did voicing. I have done lots and lots of things when I was young. And so I started saying that so I said, I must have a backup plan. And after the masters, I got from newspapers, magazines, I don't think a radio station, television was very nascent at the time. I got offers to join these publications or in advertising agencies.
Right.
And I just stalled a bit, and I got married, and I didn't get into all this. I had this dream that one day I would set up my own theatre company, and that's where my heart lay, So I buried the dream for a while, and I carried on having children, doing all that. And I started designing clothes. There was a time when there was only Nalini. Yes. In fact, even recently I met someone who said, why did you stop? Why did you close your shop? I said, what? So they said, love your clothes. Nonita, who used to be the editor of Elle,
right.
She used to come to the shop. Like this, I have many people who are in fashion now. They were like 16, 17 at that time. And they for their college Saturday dates and all this to come and sort of get clothes from me. So I used to design, and I had a store, and there was only Ritu's, Nalini saris, and me. I did the Indo-Western sort of stuff, blouses.
Oh my God. Ritu had you for competition. What are you saying?
I don't think I was competition, because Ritu was a darn good at what she does. She was brilliant. She does her own block printing.
Yes.
And she was a pioneer, I mean, her main thing, I think more than anything else, the design came later, was her keeping that craft alive,
Yes.
block printing and all that.
Absolutely.
That was her contribution. And then, of course, you're talking about, sort of lasting the race. Lambe Race Ke Ghode. So she was one of the earlier Lambe Race Ke Ghode.
Yes.
It's so long, and I love her stuff, her aesthetic and everything.
It's beautiful.
And of course, she's from Delhi. Always is some of the most aesthetic people. Just happen to come from Delhi. But in a way, it's not untrue if you do an analysis. Anyway, so there was her, and hers was a full-fledged industry. I mean, a business empire. Or even then, she had already got shops and things like that. Nalini was also, they were in it seriously. For me, it was marking time. I wanted to do something because I am one of the most restless, creatively and otherwise restless human beings in the world. So I needed to do something, even though kids were small and yay and wo and all that. But what am I doing? So I started making corporate films. I started doing some work for Doordarshan, making some, sort of films for them, non-fiction, on travel, on tourist destinations, just to keep my hand into some work. And since it was my area, I enjoyed it. And I opened a boutique, and it was called Girl. A lot of people who was of that vintage. I met someone at a wedding in Delhi recently. She said, I still have one of your tops. I said, it must be in shreds. 40 years on ago. She said, but I still love your clothes. Anyway, so it was heartening to know that at least whatever I did at that point was like appreciated.
Yeah. That is beautiful.
Very brave. I had my sisters, my two sisters at different times as my partner. And we took exhibitions to London, to New York, and
wow,
out and all that. So, I could have stayed in clothes. It's just that between you and me, I take my hat off to people in the fashion business. I'll tell you why. Though I'm a woman myself, and I loved all the people who came to me, don't get me wrong, but to deal with women and thoda loose hai aur ye theek se kyun nahi, my master used to keep saying, apni body ko kyun nahi dekhte madam? I said, how can we say that? Don't be stupid. You can't say things like this. He said, Sara, ye theek nahi, wo theek nahi. We're funny creatures. We can drive people up a wall. And so it was something that luckily I used to go only for a couple of hours. Someone running. I used to go to design and meet a few clients who wanted to meet me and things like that. So most of the day I wasn't there. But even the few hours I used to go, I used to come back absolutely exhausted. Women can be very, very finicky and trying, about clothes.
Yes.
So anyway, this was before the era of ready-mades and Zara and Mango.
Right.
It was literally the poor master, He used to keep complaining to me. Anyway, so that was how I said, and I had this plan that, and I've been a great believer that if you have children, either you have to have time for children or you shouldn't have. So if you're going to pass them off to X, Y, Z, 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 then why bother? Keep a dog, keep a cat. Don't bother to have children. And I'm okay with it. I have young friends nowadays who say they don't want children.
Right.
Yeah? That's perfectly okay. If I was being utterly rational, I would look at the world, at the climate as it is, at climate change, at the world as it's becoming.
And the population, it's out of hand.
Pollution. And if you look at it objectively, you step back and you examine the world, this planet that we're living on, would I be so gung-ho about, making this the planet they inherit, the earth they inherit? From
absolutely.
Many times. So I don't blame them because they say, what for what? Some say that, look, we're very happy with our lives. We don't want another person. We don't need another person to complete it. And I think, which I want to say here, is that I really feel for women, this is the most fantabulous time. Right. You're so empowered, Annie. If you don't want to have a child, you just go freeze your eggs. And I'm saying this openly. You freeze your eggs, you keep them away, and you are not compelled to make wrong decisions about who to marry because your biological clock is ticking and you say, oh, heck, I'm 34, heck, I'm 36, heck, I'm whatever I am. And I haven't had a child. And everyone around me is, going woo, 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 just producing them. What's wrong with me? And why haven't I found anyone, And we have enough things in this very stressful life that life has become to worry about. This is not something women should be worrying about. So I keep telling women when occasionally I'm asked to give a talk or anything that, listen, guys, you can keep those eggs. You marry when you need to marry, when you feel you want to marry. And when you're ready, because a child is a 100% full-on lifetime commitment. I remember when my babies were born, I used to tell my mother-in-law, the first one especially, I'm so exhausted. I suppose by the time they're 10, I'll be, done and I'll be free. And she laughed. She said, who told you that? I said, well, it's logical. And she said, is a job for life, my darling.
It is a job for life.
Forever.
It
You will
is.
never stop worrying. You will never stop, thinking about them. I said, Jesus, why didn't someone tell me this before? you know? But so it is. And I'm seeing my daughter and what a commitment it is. But I'm saying that what you do have, you have the power in your hands. And you can tomorrow have I'm telling you, in 10 years, nobody will care if there's a father or a mother or not. A single parent is acceptable. So if you have this great maternal urge, you just keep those eggs. You can find someone. And today I was laughing and telling someone it's like ordering something, not picky, but you just take a box, especially abroad, and you just go tick, IQ this, height this, intelligence this, this, tick, 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 tick. Ready to made comes to you the thing that you need to complete the baby, and you're done. You just have to keep the guy.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little scary, but oh my God, I'm loving this side of you, Lillette, where you have where you have just dabbled in so many different things, and you did not let your insecurities or fear get the better of you. You always were out there trying different things to see how you can complete yourself, and keep doing that. Along the way, you also kept inspiring everyone. After, are you ready for this quickfire round now, Lillette?
I feel like I'm in some Karan Johar show.
Yeah, I'd say it's more like going back to school. It's like your slam book, and we just want to know what you like to do and those kind of things. So, okay, your very first question: what was the last movie you watched on a digital platform, which we very famously call the OTT platform? Any OTT platform?
I saw a beautiful book of Ian McGregor's, which is called The Children's Act. It's one of my favorite actresses, Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
And it's called The Children's Act. Beautiful film.
Wow. Wow, The Children's Act. Two of your favorite international pop stars that you like to listen to?
Like I told you, I've gone into this radio silence mode a little. That much music.
From back in the day then?
Are you talking about current? I was always a big fan of Amy Winehouse. It just music, the soul of it, that it was like a wise old soul in a very young.
She was always from another dimension altogether.
I always was the purity of Nora Jones's voice always appealed to me tremendously. So I may not be listening to them currently. Currently, I could be listening to Nina Simone or Ella Fitzgerald.
Right.
But amongst the younger, I quite like Lady Gaga also, actually.
Yes.
Strangely.
Yes.
But Amy Winehouse had something quite extraordinary about her.
Yes, really? That is so true. That was accepted by the world at large. Okay, what's your favorite book? Any book you've read recently or one you've read long ago but stays with you?
A book which I actually once wanted to make into a film.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the other, I have like 10 dreams on a back burner all the time. By the way, also writing, I've been pushed again by HarperCollins to write my memoirs. So I started them and then I left it halfway, but I will get back to it. Writing is something I enjoy as well. So the book, the book I liked a lot, which has always stayed with me, is a book called What the Body Remembers.
Mm-hmm.
What Remembers. It's by Shauna Baldwin, a Canadian Indian writer. Extraordinary book, absolutely extraordinary, which I read some time ago, not now. I wanted to make the film. And there are many other books. I'm reading a book called The Silk Road, which is a version of, in my old age, I'm discovering I quite like non-fiction as well. So this is a book about a version of history, but seen from another lens, not the Western lens.
Nice.
Turn some other kind of lens. Very, very interesting book, The Silk Road.
Okay.
So these are two books The Silk Road I'm reading right now, but this What the Body Remembers is a stunning book.
Wow. Okay, there it is. What the Body Remembers. Okay, top 2 travel destinations on your bucket list. I'm guessing it would have changed in the past year and a half. A few names here and there may have been added or striked off. So
one is a repeat, which I could do repeat, which is Italy. I love Italy. I've so much of it, but I think it's a country I could go back to. And another country which strangely I've had 3 birthdays in, shot 3 films in, and had 2 films in, and done 3 years of shows in
Wow.
is South Africa. South Africa is I really, really like. It's something about the soul of it that just gets me. I don't know why. It's a country I could keep going back to. And I told someone I might have been South African, in my last life. I met out with Gandhiji over there in Durban. There's something about that place I love. I really
Right. A place of, the birth of civilization, as one would otherwise know it as. I'm sure it's got that history that it.
Like,
yeah.
There's a place called the Cradle of Civilization, the earliest known man.
Yes.
I've been to that.
It's beautiful. So you can only imagine. I mean, I can only imagine, but you felt the vibe of that place, the energy of that place. I'm sure that's why, it kind of takes you back.
The local population, there's something so vibrant and warm and amazing about them. I think it's the kind of culture they've sort of, gone, the kind of period of history, different periods of history that they've gone through. They're a very unusual race. I don't know. I be there to understand it.
Right.
And I connect because of Gandhiji or something. I mean, I performed in Durban. I performed in Johannesburg. I performed in a theatre which had Nelson Mandela's statue, which was about 40 feet high in the square. And the theatre, little Prithvi type of theatre, all red. Everything in it, blood red. The most amazing. Again, by a woman, Annie, who I would give full kudos to. I have met many women like this, who run a theatre in Kuala Lumpur, fueled by their own money and passion. This woman, odd years. See, another thing we don't have in India, we never finished that conversation, and I felt bad I didn't get into it, was that we don't have any state support. We have no support from the government. You cannot, no country in the world has no support from the government. You need support from the government.
Absolutely.
To spaces for us to perform in, to give grants, to give some sort of, I remember performing at the Edinburgh International Festival almost 19 years ago, and this guy bemoaning the fact that he is, that his money had been cut. He has a small theatre he had in some city in London, some city in England, and he was bemoaning the fact that his money grant had been cut, arts grant.
Wow.
So I said, what now? So he said, to run my theatre, I get only £500,000 a year.
What?
I said, what? £500,000? He said, but how would I run it otherwise?
God.
How would I run my theatre? And I came back here and I said, damn hell yeah, we don't get 1 rupee from the government.
Yes.
One. How can it be a thriving, industry if there is no support? There is no patronage.
Absolutely.
There was patronage from the Rajas, Maharajas, who supported the performing arts. There is no such thing. We look for some kind of corporate sponsors for things. They are going through such tough times. And, how much can we keep begging people to give us money?
Right.
So you have to be self-sufficient. But that to me is my greatest pride, that we have managed without a sou from anyone. No government help, no state help, sort of no help from any body that supports us. Some big corporate house, no. And doing theatre like that, I can tell you, is almost impossible. Right. And the biggest thing that's a problem today in theatre is, God bless them, but every young actor, and God bless them, I'm so happy for them, are just getting sucked by the web.
Right.
By the web, by this, by that, by, ad films, by this, by that. And you can't blame them. They have to run their homes.
Right.
But there is no money, because we don't get that kind of money from anyone. Sure. Now, if I had a grant, I could pay people well, I could, start a little theatre of my own. But these things are not possible in India. They're just not possible. That's why we're always going to remain at this level. We can't get there. We just can't get there. Because you need the backing. And it's all, a factor of everything else. England loves theatre. To them, it's the biggest thing, They genuinely love it.
Right.
The Globe full. They will have standing seats for £5 because they know कि लोगों को देखना है तो £5 की सीट बनाओ, and they're full. All the theatres are full. First, you have to have that kind of mad love for theatre.
Right.
I go to God and I tell people, even though they may have seen me in a Marigold with, Mr. Richard Gere or with a Judi Dench or a Maggie Smith and all. But if I tell them that I do theatre in England, they'll say, "You do theatre? Are you a theatre actor?" Their respect for you is enormous.
Yes.
Maggie Smith, a Judi Dench still goes back to sing for the 50th year of the National Theatre because that's where she was followed. That's where she comes from.
Right.
So that kind of love for the arts, for theatre, is sort of not there. We're not there yet.
I agree.
Don't have it.
I agree.
People would rather run to see a film, or see a match or something, but they would not go and spend their money to see a play.
Right.
They just feel like
we have failed in building this to be a very strong and important part of our culture, so to speak. It's something that goes back to school today. School does,
You said correctly that it should be inculcated at the level of schools.
Yes.
I was so pleased to meet someone who told me a very, very good school in Bombay that one of the things they have made compulsory for children, aside from dance and music and something, is drama.
Yes.
From the very first level. And I can tell you, drama is not just, theatre is not just there for theatre. The things that you get through drama or learning, to be on stage, public speaking, confidence, role playing, it's therapy for so many people.
Yes, it is.
Discovery of your personality. Theatre is not just going and acting on stage. It's got a lot of other things. Abroad, it's used as therapy for prisoners. It's used as therapy for so many other things.
Right.
So many other things. So in prisons, it's used all the time.
Yes, it is.
There's advantages which we are not even aware of in India, actually. But anyway, hopefully you guys will change things. I'll probably...
The conversation has started, Lillette, and this will continue. So yeah, we're hoping things will change very soon. Okay, next question. Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Nobody, actually. It was terrible. I never I wanted to emulate anybody. I admire people. I admire Meryl Streep's talent. I admire Mother Teresa's compassion. I would love to inculcate these qualities, but I don't want to be like anyone else.
Right.
Ever. Even when I was a child. It's very weird, but I don't
think it's weird. I think it's having a hell lot of clarity, which usually kids don't have, because you're pushed to always, compare yourself with someone else. Maybe that wasn't the case with you. You never wanted to compare yourself with you. And that's a great kind of fire and confidence you have in you, which is, again, quite inspiring. Okay, moving on to the next question. If you want to be a comic superhero, if that's been a thing in your life ever, who would it be and why?
Comic superhero. Maybe Catwoman.
Ah, nice. I like the pick. Which dessert makes you go weak in your knees?
A very simple one, actually, because these are childhood memories from clubs and all. Caramel custard pudding.
Oh, I love it too. I love it too. If you were...
I could say tiramisu and I could say hundreds of other things. But if I were honest to myself, I'll kill for a nice caramel custard.
So cool, so cool. What's the one thing your parents taught you that changed your life?
Couple of things, I think, that I wouldn't change my life, but shaped my life, Annie.
Right.
Shaped my life. Very first was integrity. Integrity, honesty and integrity, which transfers onto what you do even as a profession, to be true to yourself, to do things your way, to be truthful and not which goes even further, that you don't try to do things to please people. You want to be true to yourself and what you think is the correct thing. Our moral compass is so shaken these days that I think it's very important to believe that this is right and true.
Sure.
And I will have my integrity about it, come what may.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that was a very important quality to them, this sense of integrity and being correct. And the other thing which I have not followed maybe that much, that of course I told you, my dad said, if you want to be good at something, then you make sure you are the best at it. don't do things half-heartedly.
Right.
And I think as a corollary to that, I would say that be the best, and to what shall I say, to excel at something, you have to give it your all. Absolute. Yeah. My dad was a big believer in that, that half-baked mein se ye bhi tha ki don't just do it half-baked way. Give it your all. And he used to always quote the Gita that, then you leave it. What will come of it is not your problem.
Right.
Don't connect it to your reward. What will I get from it? It then becomes impure.
Sure.
You just do it.
Sure. Absolutely.
Those things that they sort of inculcated in me. As you get older, you suddenly remember all these things your parents did.
What's your favorite time of the day?
Oh, the night, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I'm a total night owl. Total night owl.
Okay.
Let's go jog in the park, hear the birds kind of person. I very much like chilling at night.
What's your favorite beverage?
Well, if I drink a very nice red wine.
Okay. Now, what's the one thing? I know you have a new play that's already, doing the rounds, but is there anything else that you're really excited about that's up and coming?
Very interesting Netflix film that I'm going to be shooting for in a couple of months. A new play that I'm sort of cooking in my head. I mean, in the sense that it's there and I'm going to start working on it maybe a little later. I'm going to be doing a couple of interesting projects. This Netflix film is one which I'm actually looking forward to. It's a very interesting film. And the other projects are interesting. They're interesting. I'm not saying they're not. I have another film, 2 other films that I'll be working on around April or so, April, May. And what am I doing immediately? I'm doing a whole lot of things, that I like to keep my hand in doing different things. Right now, what's on my mind is the festival, which is in February, and all the shows that we are going to be doing with lockdown right now. The next couple of months, I want to take it to the States. I want to try and take it to London. I want to take it to Dubai. I want to travel with it now. So we are working on, because everything's opening so slowly, and then Austria goes into lockdown, then something opens, and everyone goes 2 steps back.
Right.
And we are unfortunately in the business of live shows. So if people are wary about coming back into an auditorium, then it's going to be very difficult.
It is. But you know what? I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I think you've been working really, really hard, and I really wish you travel as much as you can, length and breadth of the world, maybe taking Indian writing, taking your play.
While the knees are working and the eyes are seeing and the ears are hearing, that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yay! Thank you so much, Lillette. It was wonderful having you on board. Thank you for all the stories you shared with us. Thank you for the inspiration through those stories you've given us, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. I very much enjoyed chatting with you, Annie. All the best.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video from Radio 1.